Hey, what's up, everyone? How you doing, man? It's so good to see you all today, this wonderful afternoon for this virtual masterclass. I want to first of all give a big shout out to DJ Wally, representing all the way from Southern California. If y'all can give him a big round of applause, man, just sit up there locking it down. DJ Wally is one of our is literally our DJ at the Circle of Change Leadership Experience. So DJ, thank you so much for spinning the music. He's going to be back later. Also, a shout out to Michael, our video producer, out there with DJ Wally as well in LA. We want to give you a big shout out as well, man. Thank y'all so much for getting us started for today. I want to welcome you all today. It's so good to be here today. I don't know about you, but this is the first day of October. We are in the fourth quarter of 2020. I know it's been tough. I know it's been challenging, but I don't know about y'all. I believe that we're going to win this last fourth quarter. We're going to overcome. We're going to end this year with a bang, and we're going to get ready to launch even be greater in 2021. And so I brought my wonderful panelists back today.
Excited to be here amidst so much greatness. Like Josh said, I'm from Sacktown, born and raised in Sacramento. I'm a motivational entertainer. Some people will call that a motivational speaker, but I like to entertain as I speak. I get an opportunity to speak to elementary school babies, a whole bunch, middle school, high school, college students, have local shows, motivational entertainment shows, and I love locking arms with Josh, Dr. J, Tish, Ernesto, Juan, and just being in this space. And Del Toro, I'm shouting you out too, Del. So I love being in space like this. So I'm done. I look forward to hearing and learning from the other speakers that are in the building today.
Awesome. If y'all can give KB a big round of applause, give him a virtual round of applause. Give him up for Kevin Bracey coming from Sacktown. Our next wonderful panelist, he's no stranger to these virtual master classes. He hails from Florida. Give it up for Ernesto. What's up, Ernesto?
What up, y'all? What's good? Thank you, first and foremost, for showing up, for being here. I saw some of y'all, even though I couldn't really see you during the DJ. I saw some of y'all on the other side of the computer and the desk. It was all good. I like that. We needed that. We need that energy. For those of you that aren't familiar with me, my name's Ernesto Mejia Macias. If you can't roll your R's like I can, call me what my kindergarten through sixth grade teachers called me, Ernesto Mejia, same cat. My friends call me E. You can call me Ernesto. I'm part of the Cool Speak family. I'm the vice president of the youth engagement company, and we deliver services to anything from junior high all the way to the first year of college, English, y también en español, whenever needed. So I am honored, just like my brother Kevin, excited to learn from one another, share with one another, and hopefully enlighten one another. So I appreciate y'all for being here, the panel, and all the attendees. So much love.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ernesto. Give Ernesto a big round of applause. Give him a virtual shout out. Yes, indeed. Man, I'm just so excited today, y'all. Y'all can't tell. I'm just pumped. I love being around greatness and incredible people. So I'm just fired up right now. We're going back to the West Coast. We're going up to Seattle, Washington. I don't know if y'all know, but Mr. Juan Doe is on Lay's chips right now. He has his famous smile all over the country right now. But I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about it. Juan Doe, represent. What's up, Juan?
What's happening, guys? Juan Doe here, pronounced like the magic wand without the D, representing sunny Seattle, Washington. I am honored to be here with you guys. For those who don't know me, I am an inspirational speaker, author, city finalist on America's Ninja Warrior, and also recently we teamed up with Lay's, so you'll see me on Lay's chip bags all across the country on 5 different flavors: lemon, fried pickles with ranch, poppables, classics, and party size barbecue. I am so honored to be here to hang out with you guys. Looking forward to a great time together.
Awesome, awesome. Give a shout out to Juan. And if you didn't know, make sure you go to your local grocery store today and you'll see Juan's picture in his profile. Make sure you take a picture and make sure you tag Juan in it, letting him know that you support his smile, his encouragement, and his work. Give it up for Juan. A big virtual round of applause for Juan out there in virtual land. And our last panelist, she's no stranger, coming from the ATL. It's hot out there. T.I., what's up, Tish Norman?
Let's go.
It's time for Tish Norman to tap in. Hey, tap in.
Hey.
What's up, everybody? Listen, I'm excited to be here. I just have a big old smile on my face because now we're not going for one master class, we're going for 2. And so we're glad to see that you are back. I am a speaker, I am an educator, I am an author, and I have been in this game. I guess some people would call me a veteran anytime you're working on almost 20 plus years. And so this is my magnificent obsession. It is what makes me swing my feet out of bed in the morning. And so I have been very fortunate to speak in the college, corporate, and classroom environments for the last almost close to 20 years. And I transitioned from a place of education. And now really my classroom is just worldwide. I'm still an educator. I'm still an information sharer. I still teach and I still learn. And so I'm happy to be here. I'm glad each and every one of you are here today. And something that I have been doing as part of my speaking business is hosting a virtual community conversation. And so I have one coming up on October 12th. And this is the third installment, and it's called Women Speaking to Women. And I'm telling y'all, it is something that is empowering. It is something that is motivating. It's something that's educating and enlightening. So I'm going to be coming from two places tonight. Josh, this is going to be my theme. This is going to be my lane that I'm running in tonight. Mindfulness and cheerleading. I'm going to break that down later. And I guess my big question is, how do we lead through change? We have student affairs professionals on this call right now who are dealing with educating and engaging students in meaningful activities on college campuses where things are hybrid models, where things are 100% remote. There's a gamut of situations. So how do those people who are in charge of engaging others lead through change when literally we're in a society where it's changing from day to day? I think that may be where Josh was going.
I think Josh is back.
Until we,
Yeah,
maybe not yet.
I'm back now.
Are you back?
I have no idea.
We're popping in and out, Dr.
Yeah,
J.
we're popping in and out.
So go ahead, T.I.
Yeah.
Y'all-
You're real choppy, Josh.
Yeah. Does anybody have any thoughts on that one? Either
Keep
Ernesto
going, Tish.
or
Keep going,
Juan?
Tish.
You got it? While we're still working through
Yeah,
that.
Tish, just keep going. I'm sorry. I gotta figure this out.
Perfect. No problem. How are we leading through change when change is happening every day? I think that's a great question to start from. Who wants to jump in on that? Why don't we have Ernesto?
I'll jump in real quick. So I think one of the things that we forget to do right now during these trying times is to celebrate those small victories and to continue to grow on those small victories as well. We're just, right now, there's such a downpour of change, of negativity, of issues, of challenges. And if we don't look at some of the bright sides, some of the positives, some of the wins, it makes things very challenging for us. But the other part when it comes to change that I feel we're missing out on a lot is, what is it that we're truly trying to change? Because right now we're so focused on adapting. It's not even just the change. It's, how do I get everybody to this meeting tomorrow? Okay, how do I get them onto this technology on Monday? Okay, how do I get them to this meeting on Tuesday? Okay, how do I get them back in the classroom next Monday? There's so much going on that you have to focus on the overall end goal. What's the overall end goal? We want our students to be resilient, critical thinkers, independent, be able to carry a conversation in person, virtually, however it might be. Keep those things in mind, because while they may be struggling, and some of them aren't, some of them are thriving in this world, we have to focus on that end goal. What is the end goal for this? All this change that's happening is still going to result in the same end goal. We want to make sure that we're growing our students, we're preparing them for a better future, for the job force. I mean, I've been telling students recently, one of my top things I put on my resume is, I graduated during COVID, I went to school during COVID, I did all this during COVID, and I thrived and I survived, and this is what I did, because that says something about you.
You say put COVID on your resume, Ernesto.
Yeah, if you're coming out strong, you kidding me? Because there's some people struggling. If you said, you know, I organized a club, I still got stuff together, I raised my GPA, I increased my involvement, I organized some community movement during these times, that's the type of person I want at my job.
Yeah. So Casey mentioned in the chat about how some SA pros can say basically to their students, like, it's okay if you're confused. Like, it's
Absolutely.
okay if you don't know the answer. It's okay if you're not sure what you're going to be doing next week or next month. I think with what you talked about, Ernesto, we have to remind these SA pros that we're in a space where you're really reaching in two directions. You're reaching to touch your students because you're not in higher ed if you don't have an objective to be there for the students. You're there for their benefit. But at the same time, those SA pros have colleagues, they have coworkers, they have a supervisor, right? And so they're literally pulled in two directions where they have to serve two communities at the same time. And so I think with that in mind, your attitude about change could be the determining factor.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you are down and out every time change comes, then guess who else is going to be down and out when they see your energy and they feel your energy every time they're around you? And how many people know that your energy transmits even on the World Wide Web? Like, can y'all feel my energy right now?
Yes.
Okay, so that thing, just a little bit, Juan. So you guys know that these kinds of things, it's palpable. It transmits. And so if you're excited about it, your people will be excited about it. You're not going to convince others to embrace change. Shout out to Bracy, to embrace change if you let it knock you down on your back every time it happens. So how do you approach it? How do you approach it with your coworkers? How do you approach it with the students that you lead? Because think about it like this, guys, and I'm gonna throw it over to Bracy. How many people are watching you from a day-to-day perspective, either in person, online, virtually, in communities, your emails, your social media posts? How many people are literally inadvertently influenced by your action, word, and deed? So you have to think about that you're always being watched and you're always being in a space of influence on others. So gird yourself and then get in there, put on those gloves, and let's go. That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Bracy, what are your thoughts on that one?
You know, right away, I piggyback off what you're saying. I believe that how you lead through these times is leading through authenticity. Let people know. I mean, I said this last time, it's hard right now. And it's okay that it's hard. It's okay that it's difficult to lead right now. But I believe that when change happens, you're faced with change, we can go one or two ways. Change happens, we can accept it, okay? It took me a long time to accept no schools, no talks that are live. I got to do everything virtual. I can't believe the world is what it is. It took me months to get to accepting that. Once you accept it, you begin to adapt to it. Now I'm adapting to virtual present. I'm adapting to transmitting positive energy through a screen rather than seeing people in front of me. You accept it, adapt to it. Once you adapt to it, you begin to embrace it. Once you embrace it, that's when you start growing personally and helping other people. Once you grow, then you and everyone else you're leading benefit. So it's accept, adapt, embrace, grow, benefit, or you could become rigid. I don't want things to change. I don't want it the way, I want it the way it used to be. We don't have control over that. Once you become rigid, you become inflexible. Life is hard when you're not flexible, adaptable, and versatile. Once you become inflexible, you become bitter. Then you start to digress rather than progress. Then you start to lead from a place of resentment because I didn't want the things to change in the first place. So the question is, as a leader, you have to look at yourself first. I can't lead anyone else until I'm in the right frame of mind. So what direction are you going in right now as we are amid change? All of us. Are you accepting it, embracing it, adapting to it, growing from it, benefiting? Or are you rigid, inflexible, bitter, digressing, and operating from a place of resentment? So I believe being honest with where we are, with the people that we're leading, is going to help them say, okay, it's even hard for the leader. So we're all going to rally behind him or her and make these things happen, whatever the vision is that's laid out. That's how I see.
No, that's so good. That's so good. Because you know what I think of, Juan? When Bracy says rigid, right? I think of peanut brittle. If you drop a piece of peanut brittle on the ground,
I'm going to pick it up and eat it. I'm sorry. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
It breaks. It breaks because it's hard. It breaks because it's rigid. And so when you're flexible, I think that's when you can master what the GOAT talked about, right? The rope-a-dope.
Yes.
Ali, come on, he could fight 12 rounds because he took a punch, but he rolled his body. He rolled with the punches.
Yes.
Versus being rigid and erect and hard.
Right.
And so when you take a punch, it knocks the wind out of you and you're out for the count.
Absolutely.
So can we roll with the punches as our society and our times and this culture right now literally is changing day by day? Come on, Lay's potato chips, what you got?
I agree with you guys 100%. There's a saying that's so powerful I want to share with all of you. And go ahead in the chat box or type this note in. Whatever you resist in life will continue to persist in life. Let me say that again. Whatever you resist in life will continue to persist in life. Let's say if you had some beef or some tension with someone in your life, if you ignore those emotions and do not have that courageous conversation, the tension will still be there. If you're procrastinating on a paper, you decide to go check out Netflix or hang out with friends, the paper will be waiting there for you. And I love what Kevin said is that the key is acknowledging what is happening. Not ignoring it, but acknowledging it, but then learning how to adapt with it, because when uncomfortable things happen, the key is learning how to lean into discomfort versus run away from it.
That's a perfect segue into one of these next questions. Let's talk about tribes, right? Let's talk about tribes. Let's talk about families. Let's talk about support. Let's talk about allies. Let's talk about colleagues. Let's talk about ride or dies. Let's talk about ride or dies, right? Let's talk about day ones, right? And so what Josh's question that he kind of proposed to us a little earlier, you know, we talked about the GOAT of boxing. Let's talk about the GOAT of speaking. Les Brown talked about, you know, showing me your friends, and that helps me. And then you show me your friends, and then that shows me your future. Back when I was a little kid, my grandmother used to say, birds of a feather flock together, right? And so in this time, when we're zoomed out and these new words have made their way into our culture, right? Pivoting, reimagining, all these new words we're talking about now. How important is it to have friends? Ladies, come on. How important is it to have a girlfriend who is going to adjust your crown and not kick it off? Because queens adjust one another's crowns, right? So how important is it to have that system of friends or colleagues or trusted confidants in a time like this, where sometimes you just want to turn the light switch off? You don't want to be on. You want to just be honest. You want to let your feelings out. You want to lament, and you want to be yourself. Let's talk about friends. Let's talk about people who ride with you. Come on, Ernesto.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Les got that saying from my grandma, because it's an old school Mexican saying. Dime con quién andas y te diré quién eres. Tell me who you're with and I'll tell you who you are. And that's a very true fact that, you know, we grow up with and hear all the time as kids. And here are some of the challenges. And I forgot to set this disclaimer at the beginning for everybody. What one of us on the panel says as a suggestion or advice might not be for you. What another person says might hit it perfectly for you. You have to work with what works for you. You have to go with what works for you. You have to work with the tools that you're given. So I'm going to give you a different perspective on this one, okay?
Okay.
I like a hater near me sometimes. I like that person that's going to doubt me to kind of whisper in my ear, you know what, I really don't think you can do that. Like, thank you for that. I needed that. I keep them close too. I do. And also because, you know what, they think differently than me. They see differently than me, and they're going to allow me to have different perspectives. Now, that being said, doesn't mean I want to be surrounded by them. What do I want to be surrounded by? I want to be surrounded by people that I admire, I look up to, and I'm trying to be like. If I'm trying to have a solid relationship in my marriage, I don't know that I'm going to talk to my boy that's been married 3 times. What do you think, bro? I can tell you what don't work. Okay, that's good. That's a good start. However, you want to surround yourself with folks that are going to help you. But also, the last tip I'm going to give you on this, I really like being uncomfortable. And a lot of people like to say that, like, oh, I love difficult conversations until they happen. I love difficult conversations, and I like when people push me. Like, Ernesto, you didn't raise up to the level I know you can raise up to. I have mentors that push me to that point. And, I'm not going to say I enjoy it. It hurts sometimes, and it makes me sour sometimes, and it makes me realize I'm going to do what I always preach to my students not to do. Well, what had happened was, the sun came out early. Like, you'll come up with an excuse, but then you realize as you're talking, like, okay, I'm just making up an excuse. I need us to please find that person that's going to push you, that's going to challenge you. My mentor used to tell me this, and I beg of y'all to find this person. I don't want you to be as good as me. I want you to be better than me, and I want you to take my position and then hire me. And it's difficult to find people like that because most people want you to be great where you're at to stay where you're at. Find the person that wants you to excel, be better than them, and grow together. So make sure that that's somebody in your circle as well.
Yeah. Gracie, what are your thoughts? What specific things do you think would stand out with a partnership or a friendship or a connection with someone that you would give a student or someone else advice about to look for?
To piggyback the greatness of Ernesto, it's a friend loves you just the way you are, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But a mentor loves you too much to leave you the way you are. They're going to stretch you. They're going to push you. Now, another thing that comes up in my head is your association. It's real simple, not deep, plus your conversation equals your destination or your direction in life right now. Who are you associating with right now? Who are you texting on a regular basis, DMing, Messenger, however you're communicating, over the phone, email? The conversations that you're having equals your destination or your direction in life. What are you and the people around you talking about? If I can just sit back as a fly on the wall and just hear the conversations that you and your friends might be having, or me and my friends are having, that is an indicator of the direction that your life is going right now. I believe that we've got to have people around us who believe in us, who encourage us, but who tell us the truth.
Woo!
Even when the truth, y'all don't want to hear the truth all the time. I need somebody to tell me the truth because I'm hard-headed. I think I know. Here's what, now my assistant will say, nah, we got to do it like this. And now we arguing. But I need her to be hard-headed and say, nah, I'm sticking to my guns. And all 99.9% of the time, I act like I don't hear her. But as soon as I get in front of an audience, what she told me, I'm bringing that into the conversation because she's stretching me. We need people to believe in us, encourage us, and tell us the truth. If there's somebody that is, that Les Brown said something, he says, if you can't build the people up in your life, for God's sake, don't let them bring you down.
Yeah.
Association plus your conversation equals your destination or your direction. Love, you need belief, encouragement, and the truth around you as you grow. You're not going to always find people on your same level because there is the altitude where you're headed. Some people can't breathe up there. So you might be up there by yourself and you need some people from a distance like a Dr. J that I can call whenever I want, a Tish Norman I can call whenever I want, who are in that altitude and can breathe because where you're headed, everybody can't go because they can't breathe up there. Go ahead, Tish.
Hey, Tish, can I chime in? I think I'm back. Y'all hear me? Am I good?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna let you keep going, Tish. Tish, we're gonna flip. I'm gonna let you moderate. I have to come get some announcements. I'm gonna let you. You're doing a great job, Tish.
No,
I just want
is
to give you a shout out for locking it down, Tish. So you just keep on
Absolutely.
flowing. I'm just gonna jump in and be a panelist right now. But I did want to say something that I think is really critical. I think number one, there's a famous quote, and they said there's certain friends there's certain friends in your life that are for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And most of your friends are not for a lifetime. And so one of the things I've learned about in my journey is I learned that in this journey, that when the teacher needs to appear, the teacher will appear. But here's the challenge. when the teacher appears, are you ready to receive from that teacher? Because a lot of times you have grown, but if we don't have the right character to receive the instruction, or if we're not teachable when that person appears, it can literally affect our growth. And so one of the things I have to always tell people is be able to decipher who's here for a reason, who's here for a season, and who's here for a lifetime. And most of your most closest people are not going to be there for a lifetime. My grandmother once said, your closest friends you can count on your hand. And the other thing I want to say that I think is so important, and I mean, I love these kind of friends. I love the friends that can see things in you that you don't see in yourself. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but have been around people, and they're like, man, there's greatness. You're like, what? There ain't no greatness in me. No, there's greatness, and you can't see it for yourself. And then about 5 years later, you actually become what they see in you.
Right.
Those are the greatest, those are some of the greatest friends. The friends that can look at you and can pull the greatness out of you. And as what Kevin said, they're not going to allow you to stay where you are because and I like to use this word, they can prophetically see something in you that's something you can't see in yourself. And just by them affirming you, and just by them sometimes sowing a seed to you can be the very thing that ignites the fire. I don't know why I just want to share this right because I'm getting inspired now. Because I feel like I'm talking to some teachers right now. I'm talking to some facilitators right now. I'm talking to some influential people in students' lives right now. And I even do this as a speaker, and I'm sure the others will agree with me. I understand that every time I get up to speak, I'm not reaching everyone, and I'm okay with that. And I'm being very transparent about this. And every speaker has to understand this. When you speak, there's going to be some people like, it's just a reality.
Right.
But this is what I learned. Just because they're in that state at that moment does not mean I can't sow the seed that may trigger 5 years down the line. Because sometimes you're a seed sower, sometimes you're a waterer, and sometimes it takes someone else to affirm the seed. So I just feel I'm talking to someone. So don't stop calling greatness out of your students. Don't stop calling greatness out of the people you're speaking to. But I just feel like maybe you think they're not hearing, but listen, maybe your responsibility is to sow the seed, and maybe the next person is the person that's going to bring the seed out. But whatever you do, continue to speak life and continue to call destiny in things that they may not be able to see. And I just wanted to share that. But Tish, you're the moderator. I mean, I got to do announcements, Tish, but you're the moderator, Tish, so you keep on flowing, girl. Keep it rocking.
No, I mean, I think that's a really amazing point because two things, and I'm coming to Juan. I remember, if I put a question in the chat right now and said, hey, guys, do you remember where you were at 9/11? Everybody can go, oh, yeah, I remember where I was. I remember what I was doing. We have those moments a lot of times with friends in our lives. We can recall when someone said something to us that kind of changed our foundation. It shook our life up. I remember Kevin saying to me years ago, like, Tish, sometimes it takes someone else's belief in you to convince you of your own dopeness. Like you don't see it, but somebody else does. Kind of like what a coach would see. Kind of what Tyra Banks saw on America's Next Top Model. She would find that diamond in the rough. She wouldn't take to that person who came on the show who was already a model. She took to that diamond in the rough so she could develop them and because she saw something in them. So those people who are on here who have students that you influence, who have friends, who have interns that you influence, you want to flow in that same vein. When you're walking down the street with one person, two people are walking down the street, one person is going to set the pace. One person is going to have to keep up. They're going to have to put a little gas in the tank to keep up with the other person, or the other person is going to have to slow down. So who's going to set the pace? Who's going to have to speed up? So step up and hold your students and yourself to a higher standard. Because I'm telling you, Juan, we are living in an anti-intellectual America right now. We are living in an anti-intellectual society, and we need the bar to continue to be raised and not lowered. And so as we talk about friends and we talk about those people in our tribe and those people who are in our flock, Juan, you just said something else. You said when we not go through it, you said when we grow through it. Let's talk about challenge and growth. right? Let's talk about challenge and growth. Juan, can you recall or can you share with the audience what was one of the most like challenging experiences that you had in your life where you went from that caterpillar cocoon to butterfly? What was one of those challenges where you could step outside yourself, turn around and look at yourself and say, wow, I went through that and I'm better because of it? What was one of those challenges?
Yeah, I'll share with you one where it was straight out of college. So I knew when I was a junior in high school that this was my calling, this was my path. And I had this huge dream to become a speaker. And what people saw was the sexy stuff. They saw what was on social media, but they didn't see the challenges behind the non-sexy stuff. So I'll tell you, when I started speaking, I worked for Tony Robbins. He's a really well-known, world-renowned speaker. I worked from straight out of college. After a year and a half with him, I decided to write a book called Succeeding in the Real World, What School Won't Teach You, sharing practical advice I wish that was taught in school from a young person to other young people. I had this massive book launch at the University of Washington. I had thought I made it. But the thing was, after I wrote my book, people weren't calling me to come speak. I had to keep promoting myself. And it took a lot longer than I expected because what people didn't see, it took me 18 months to write this book. I went through all of my $20,000 in savings. I went to $30,000 in credit card debt. I reached a point where I thought to myself, I can't keep just pretending everything's okay. So I decided to get a job. But here's the thing, I got multiple odd jobs just to make ends meet so I can live out what I thought was my calling, my purpose. I worked doing door-to-door sales, knocking on doors, selling Comcast cable, internet, phone. I worked in selling ballet tickets. I did telemarketing, selling ballet tickets to the Pacific Northwest Ballet. In addition to that, this is for all my student affair professionals here, I delivered phone books. For all the students here, what a phone book is, it's this thick book that has everyone's home number when people used to have home phones. I delivered at 6 o'clock in the morning, delivering to wealthy neighborhoods in Washington State, getting paid 25 cents a phone book. I had to go through all of that, and that took years until I was able to do this completely full time. What people see and they search out for is that for the instant gratification. They look on social media and put hashtag goals. I wish I want that. But what people are not willing to do is to go through those difficult times. And for me, when I look back, I'm grateful for everything that's happened in my life. I don't see things as good or bad. I see everything as neutral. This is not a good thing or a bad thing. This is just something where I am being leveled up to get ready for that next stage in life. So realize when you're going through a challenge, have patience, have grace, but ask yourself this question. What is the learning lesson that I'm supposed to take from this situation? When you ask yourself that question, you will be able to extract the learning lessons from that setback in your life to help prepare you for a bigger comeback in your life.
Ernesto,
Yeah.
challenges. What is
Yeah,
your,
no.
what is your Yellow Pages challenge?
Yeah, I didn't deliver those, bro. I didn't even have phone books. I'm gonna have to tell you why I didn't. One of my biggest challenges was moving back to Mexico as a youth and discovering that you aren't Mexican enough for the Mexicans and you aren't American enough for the Americans.
Come
I'm
on.
like, damn, like where we all need to go? Canada? Like, what's my next option here? Like, I don't know where to go. Even though hablo español perfectamente bien, I speak Spanish perfectly fine, it's still something that we face, and we still face it in this country. And to a certain extent, on another side, we judge those that don't speak Spanish, like, well, I'm more Hispanic than you, more Latinx than you. Like, we don't even know that. You might speak another language, but you don't even know that. So for me, that was one of the biggest challenges. So Juan, why didn't I get a phone book delivered when I moved to Mexico? Well, probably because there was no running water and no electricity, where my parents decided to leave me with my grandmother. And I was like, this isn't a good idea. Like, I came from like cable and running water and heat and AC to an adobe home, living with my grandmother and my aunt. And what I realized in retrospect, I wish I would have realized it then, but I was much, much younger then, so I was too dumb. It's still gonna be on how you take on that challenge. I can be upset, salty, angry, and blaming everybody around the world as to why I'm in this situation, why this is gonna suck, why this is gonna be horrible. or as I do now, you know what? These are the cards we're dealt. Let's give it our best shot and do what we can. And because I'm a little too realistic sometimes, I might not win every hand. I'm okay with that. But like I tell my kids, if you get a C in class, but you gave it your all, I got your back. But if you got a C in class and didn't give it your all, didn't turn in that extra credit, didn't turn in all your assignments on time, then we're gonna have problems. So even if I'm not winning, I just have to change my attitude during those challenges to say, you know what? There's a reason this is happening. Let's see what we can do out of here. Let's see what we can make out of this and just move forward. And like Juan said, there's always gonna be a learning experience from it. And you know what? I welcome them just like I do the haters. Those challenges come up, you know what? All right, this probably isn't gonna work. But if we make it work, people are gonna be talking about us for a while. So let's see what we can do. So keep pushing forward. And one more thing, Tish, you reminded me. When you were talking about expectations, you were almost hitting one of my favorite quotes of all time by Dr. Vincent Tinto. And for those of you in higher ed that don't know Dr. Vincent Tinto, go look him up right now. Out of Syracuse, Student Success.
Come on.
No one rises to low expectations.
Come on.
And as a person of color, I hear so many times for our youth, when the teacher tells them in 5th, 6th grade, well, you're probably not going to go to college anyway. I mean, look at your family. No one rises to low expectations. I like to tell them, you know what? I expect at least a master's degree out of you, so I hope you're ready. Like, oh, dang, well, if this one didn't want me to graduate, now you're expecting this? Yes, because no one rises to low expectations.
Somebody put that in the chat. Somebody put that in the chat. No one rises to low expectations. That sounds like a book that me and Bracy did 100 years ago called From Mediocre to Magnificent, because mediocrity is nothing but the top of the bottom.
That's right. And someone asked for the professor's name again, Dr. Vincent Tinto out of Syracuse. His main focus in research, and we're talking decades of research, is on student success.
Okay.
And that's what we're all here for. So somebody you should definitely read up on.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Challenges. I think that resonates. What Bracy said, what Juan said, especially Juan with the phone book. Everybody on this call has had a phone book experience. You know what that's called? It's just called paying your dues. You have to pay your dues. You have to grow through. You have to go through, and you have to grow through. And so Ernesto, Bracy, Juan, I mean, Josh, very, very good points there. And I want to say this before we move on to that next point real quick, you guys. During the beginning of this spring, about April, May, my niece was here. She's a college student, and we would go at one of the very popular places here in Atlanta called the Silver Comet Trail. And people bike, they rollerblade, they run, they walk, they do a bunch of things on the Silver Comet Trail. It runs basically from Atlanta to Alabama. It used to be a railroad track, and they paved the whole thing, so it's a walking trail. One day, my niece and I were heading back to the car. We had gone about a mile, maybe 2 miles, and then we were heading back. My niece and I were walking. We'd run for a minute, walk for a minute, run 2 minutes, walk a minute. So we shook it up a little bit. My niece ran, and then she kept running, and she kept turning around looking like, Auntie, what? I'm like, I'll meet you at the car. Go ahead. I'm gonna meet you at the car. She kept running. She kept running until I lost sight of her. Like I couldn't even see her anymore. I'm like, she knows where the car is. I'll see her when she gets there. When I got to the car, my niece had recorded an Instagram video, had posted it. She said that she ran for 9 minutes and I wrote it down, 9 minutes and 52 seconds. My question to everybody on this call is, in challenges and in these uncertain times where culture and the world is changing day to day, how many of you have introduced yourself to a new you? That day, my niece ran for 9 minutes and 52 seconds nonstop. That might not be a lot for some people, but that was the first time she had ever done that. She introduced herself to a new level of her because she did something she had never done before that she didn't even know she could do, to the point where she posted a video. So I said, girl, I think you're a runner. And she said, you know what, Auntie, every time I wanted to stop, She said, I remembered this cartoon. And y'all that have kids, y'all would know. She said, I thought of what my favorite cartoon character says, Beyond Ultra. So she said, every time I wanted to stop, like it's hurting, I can't breathe, I want to stop, I pushed myself beyond ultra. That means whatever my capacity was, I think I could go a little bit more. Right. And then before she knew it, she was at 9 minutes and 52 seconds. When you are in a situation that is very hard and heavy, some of you on this call just started your job. Some of you had people quit. Some of you are ahead of a team. Some of you are in between jobs. Some of you think that your job might be furloughed or you might be your position. There's a gamut of experiences on here. But when and at what time do you push yourself beyond ultra so that you introduce yourself to a new part of you that you didn't even know existed? It doesn't happen when you're comfortable in your office. It does not happen when you're sitting at the dinner table chilling. Come on, Josh. It doesn't happen when everything is going very smoothly. It's only in the rocky times that you get introduced to a new dimension of yourself, because we know that the ripest fruit is at the whimsiest, little thinnest, smallest, weakest part of the tree. The pearl in the oyster is in the deepest and farthest part of the ocean. A diamond is made when it's hot, when it's heat, when it's dirt, when it's pressure. That's when a lump of coal turns into a diamond. And so think about the pressure, think about the hard times, think about going beyond ultra. And I think, Josh, you can jump in because, you know, it's your party. I'm just coming to the party.
I was just gonna follow up because I think there's a couple of things that everyone said. I just wanted to share a thing, and I want to share something about challenges. I don't know if we always talk about, but sometimes we got to go through challenges because our character has to be built up. You know, challenges build up your character, and I think that's really important. And that really is critical when we dealing with challenges, dealing with persevering. I have found that some of the greatest things that have helped me to go through are my core values and my habits. I can remember as we're sharing stories, I remember when I was working on the Wayne Brady show and I was a production assistant. And I remember that, you know, I was a hard worker and you know, I was doing everything that I could and the show literally got canceled. And at that moment, to be perfectly honest with you, people were devastated, but I wasn't devastated. And someone said, well, why weren't you devastated? I wasn't devastated because, number one, I knew that the Wayne Brady show was temporary. That wasn't my final destination. And the reason I knew it wasn't my final destination is because I had a vision of where I was going. But in the midst of that, of having a positive attitude and staying positive in the midst of adversity, because my boss was upset with my attitude and my perspective during this moment, they ended up firing me for no reason. Like they just said, you're fired, and I had to go home. I mean, when you talk about injustice, to be the only black male there and you've been working hard and you're at this talk show and they're just going to fire you for no reason, and you have a guy that's worked with you and he just sits outside every day and smokes cigarettes and they ain't going to fire him, and you working hard and you just get fired. I mean, they just let me go. And I remember at that moment, I was so upset. I could have went off on them. I could have gave them a piece of my mind, but then it went back to my value system. And my value system was built, and Kev was talking about this earlier, built on love. And that I'm going to love not only those that treat me well, but I'm going to love those who treat me bad. Because at the end of the day, I believe that love wins. And why I believe that Dr. King said, love shall drive out hate. And so I implemented this value. And so when I got home, I was upset. I'm like, this is injustice. I got fired from my job. I mean, I was really upset. But I had this value of love, and I had this vision. I had this picture of my future. And I remember that day I got home, and I just said, you know what? I'm going to write everyone on the job, and I'm going to tell them how I appreciate them. I'm going to tell them how thankful I am for them. And I remember I wrote this email. I said, thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm so appreciative of it. You have done so much to impact my life. And I could have given a picture of my mind. I could have said, y'all racist. I could have said, I hate y'all. I could have went buck wild.
Right.
But I believed in the power of love.
Right.
So my values is now being tested. See, I can love you when things are going good, but can I love you when things are going tough? And I remember I implemented this principle of love and literally sent this email. Within 24 hours, I get a phone call, and they're like, I want to let you know we're sorry for firing you. We heard what happened, and we felt that your boss did a bad thing. We want to give you your job back. So they wanted to give me my job back after they fired me because they realized they didn't do the right thing. But catch this. If it wasn't for the value that I possessed of love in that challenging moment, I may have said or did something that ultimately affected me from being victorious on the other side of this thing. So not only did I get my job back, y'all, but also during this time, I had wrote my first book. And ultimately, I was able to go on national television and promote my first book on the Wayne Brady Show. So ultimately, there's a couple things that are going on. I stuck to my value of love.
Right.
But ultimately, sometimes in life has a way of throwing everything your way to try to get you deterred from what your vision was. But because I stayed true to my value, not only did I get my job back, but here comes the caveat. The day that I was not working, I went on Google.com and I applied for a job through Monster.com for a real wonderful program called the Diversity Leadership Program. I applied for this job on the day I got fired. Come to find out, after the show ended, I got hired to travel the country and serve as a speaker. And it's at this moment that I met Tish and that I met Kevin and so many amazing people that I've been friends with for almost 20 years now. You say, why? Because at that challenging moment, I believe that life was testing my values. And life was saying this: do you have the character to handle the level of elevation I'm about to bring to your life? So we always look at all the other things, but sometimes I just believe this. I believe there's certain things that we don't even want to receive until our character is right. I tell people all the time, there's certain dreams and visions I have right now. I'm so happy they ain't happened yet, because I understand I don't want to be the one that gets to the place and doesn't have the character to not only handle the success, but also the character to handle the challenges that are going to come when I get to that place of elevation. Because I always like to tell people, I think Biggie Smalls had it right. More money, more problems. The more successful you become, the more people going to hate on you. And here's the question. When they hate on you, when they call you out their name, like they did our wonderful president, President Obama, can you still sit there and smile in their face and still walk in excellence and still walk and be who you are? Character tests can be the very thing that determines your altitude. Back to you, Tish.
Let me jump in here, Tish. You know, it gets me so excited to just hear I'm like sitting here wanting to go run or something. I don't even run no more. I ride a bike. But anyway, I'm thinking about Juan because Juan's story similar to mine. I was, coming up through the ranks. When I was 25, I said, I want to be a speaker. I want to be like Les Brown. So I started to study everything about him, listened to everything he's ever done, read every book, knew his story more than he knew his story, would actually go into different places and tell his story instead of my story. I was if I could just touch the hem of his garment, I felt like I could be Les Brown. If I could just get in his presence, I could be successful. I'm going to give you the terse version of the story. So after about 6-7 years of trying to become a speaker, I ended up investing money. You're going to have to invest to learn, y'all. Learning isn't always free. That $59, $60 to get to Circle of Change, you know what that can end up meaning for you in your future? Just one idea can change the course of the direction and trajectory of your life and your children's lives. So I had to invest to get around Les. So I invested. He invited me out to Kansas City. Dream come true. It's like if I'm a performer and Beyonce were to say, hey, I want you to come hang with me. I want you to come doing a show. So I'm in Kansas City with Les Brown, sharing a stage, just me and him. Dream come true. After that event, the next day he calls me, Kevin, I want you to come on the road with me. Now, I got a wife. I've got children. We got bills to pay. But Les Brown said, come on the road with me. What am I doing? I'm going to go on the road with Les Brown. So next thing I know, I'm riding shotgun. For a year and a half, I'm right next to Les, up close and personal, getting an apprenticeship. Literally at the top of the mountain. I'm not ready for that yet. But God put me there for a reason. But I wasn't ready yet. He was teaching me. I'm learning. Listen, When you get around somebody who has the information that you need or that you want, I'm going to say this, and I'm saying it respectfully. I'm going to put me in it. We must shut up. Let them talk. We don't need to be talking. There are a lot of people that I want this information. Hey, Kev, can you sit with me? And I get there and I sit with somebody and they talk for an hour, but I have the information that they need. What did they get from that? Nothing. So I'm around less. I'm just shutting up. I'm taking notes. My videos camera is rolling. I'm recording everything. After a year and a half, I'm looking around and I'm going, I want to keep my marriage with my wife. I can't do this forever. I got kids that need my personality and my energy. I mean, he's got me around Brian Tracy, Anthony Robbins, Barbara DeAngelis, Patricia. I'm around all the biggest and the best in the business. Not because I'm ready, because he's bringing me around them. But then I remember I was taking a flight home one day. It was time for me to go home. I've been around the best. He's giving me the microphone. I'm speaking in front of all these people. They're clapping for me. Are they clapping for me? Nah, they're clapping because he introduced me. They're clapping for him. But I hadn't built my business yet. So I had to fly home and build it myself because no one was booking me. And when I flew home and I landed in Sacramento, I was more depressed after a year and a half on the road than I ever been in my life because what am I going to do? Les Brown's not going to help me now. I got to do my own thing. But here's what hit me. Kevin, dream global, but focus local. And that hit me because we all want to get in the business and be worldwide tomorrow and go viral tomorrow. No. Dream global, focus local. So I started to focus my energies locally a big challenge. I had a hole in my heart. No more Les Brown around. I can't hang out with him forever. I need to be around my wife and my kids. Time for me to go home and do this myself. I was depressed, but I focused locally. Look, it took me 16 years, Juan, to make a name for myself locally. I wasn't worried about the world. I just wanted a name locally. It took me 16 years from the day I started to when it hit for me. Are you willing to do the work even when you may not be getting the results that you want? And you've had a mentor, but it's still not working, but you know in your heart that this is what you're supposed to do. You just cannot give up when it gets tough. Dream global, but focus your ideas locally. Ice Cube was in an interview, and I'm closing here. They were asking Ice Cube. Some of y'all don't know Ice Cube's a rapper, okay? Ice Cube was, you know him maybe as an actor, but he was one of the dopest rappers in the game. He's been interviewed, and on a radio station, the guy said, hey, Ice Cube, if there's a rapper that's up and coming that wants to do what you're doing, what would you tell them to do? How do they start? He said, become a celebrity in your hometown first. Because once you do that, your hometown can't hold you forever. And when you break through beyond your hometown, when you get home, you can always come back home and eat. So dream global, focus local. You can do it.
So good. So good. Talked about friends telling you the truth. Talked about overcoming the challenges, talking about paying the dues. Listen, I got two things to say. The friends who tell you the truth, the people who are your tribe, keep those folks around. I mean, Oprah Winfrey can probably go anywhere on the planet and people know who she is, right? And back in the day, I saw an interview. She got a very early invitation by Nelson Mandela when he was still living to come stay at his home in South Africa. And she said, oh my God, this is amazing. What am I gonna say? I mean, I'm gonna be staying in his house and I'm just so nervous. What am I gonna say? Stedman said, why don't you try listening? And somebody said, that's why Oprah got Stedman around. Because who's gonna check Oprah, right? Your friends tell you the truth. And so keep people around like that. That's number one. Number two, I talked about, as we head to this last question, I talked about at the very beginning, the combination of mindfulness, and I said cheerleader. What I meant to say was cheerleader and yogi. Real quick, I was a cheerleader from 7th grade all the way through 12th grade. Now, what happens when you're a cheerleader, and then all 4 years of high school, I was the captain. when you're the captain, that means you're kind of like the super hoop, like mega cheerleader. Like you got to cheer the cheerleaders, right? You cheer sometimes in unimaginable circumstances. Sometimes it's rainy. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. Sometimes it's cold. Sometimes it's rainy. If you're cheering football season, it's cold outside. Sometimes it's nighttime. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes we had to put our sweats on. It was drizzling, all kind of unimaginable circumstances, but we had to cheer the team and the fans on, even if we were losing, even if we were down, even if the game they had thrown in the towel, we had to keep the energy up. So we were that salmon swimming upstream, right? Talking about habits, I'm going somewhere. Mindfulness as a yogi, I mentioned in my last call, guys, that I am a yogi and I practice yoga 3-4 times a week if I can. The thing that cheerleaders and yogis have in common is energy and mindfulness. Those are two great qualities to get us through this last quarter, this last lap of this year. 4 laps make a mile. We're on the last lap of this year. Energy when it's unimaginable circumstances. Energy when you want to give up, energy when the team is losing, pushing through, showing and convincing others to keep going and bringing something out in them is the energy of a cheerleader. The mindfulness of a yogi is feeling the floor under you. It's closing your eyes and hearing the sounds around you. It's being in tune with your breath. It's awareness. So if we want to go to the next level and introduce ourselves, as Josh said, if he wouldn't have gotten fired, he wouldn't have written the note, he wouldn't have had the opportunity, he introduced himself from an old him to a new him. He crossed that threshold. If you need those pertinent values and character traits, think about energy and think about mindfulness. The energy of a cheerleader and the mindfulness of a yogi. We're talking about habits as we come around and wrap it up, guys. We talk about habits that we develop, habits that we have in the morning in a routine, habits we have when we're not feeling ourselves, habits we have at work. What are some of the habits that you would identify would be some critical habits that you've developed that have helped get you through, that you would like to share with those folks watching? Come on, Ernesto.
All right, well, so let me be real. For years, I'm the person that showcased why diets never work in this country. I never followed through with stuff to the T of the letter and gave it the amount of time that it needed to become effective. So I would change a habit here, I would change a habit there. I'd say, you know what, I'm gonna get up early now, and I'd get up early 2 days, and then the 3rd day is like, I'm kind of tired today, maybe not today. So what I discovered was Dr. BJ Fogg from Stanford University's Tiny Habits. If you're not familiar with BJ Fogg, I highly suggest you take his 5-day challenge, and I'll try to find the link and put it in here. He gives you a coach, and I said this on the last call too. And that's when I started to make some tiny changes, because the biggest challenge I feel with us changing our habits, and like I think Josh said this in the beginning, 40% of your day is composed of habits. And these are things that we do without noticing and subconsciously doing them, such as how we brush our teeth, how we get dressed, what we eat, how we chew, where we move, how we move, all these things. So one of the challenges that I see is when you try to change something, you try to make a drastic change. Like, I need to lose weight. All right, so, each week I'm going to lose 2 pounds. That's not very realistic. And we need to instead focus on something tiny so that we can achieve it and feel a sense of victory. Grab an anchor, something that's going to remind you, so that's your cue to then change that habit and your reaction. So one of the things that I did when I first discovered BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits was 3 things. 1, drink more water. 2, for my workouts, I was going to do 10 jumping jacks and 5 push-ups, for example. And that ended up over the course of the week of me drinking about 80 ounces of water a day. ended up being in about 50 jumping jacks a day and about 25 push-ups before every workout, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when you were doing like 2 or 3 here and there, it was a lot. So here's the recommendation that I want to make for all of you. Do something so small that you feel the sense of victory, of achievement, and just keep building on that. Don't expect, I need to read more. By tomorrow, I'm going to read 8 books, because that's not how it works. Instead, you know what? 5 minutes. And when I wake up, instead of grabbing my cellular device, I'm going to read. And when I go to bed, instead of grabbing my cellular device, I'm going to read. Guess what? You put in like 15 minutes that day. That's 15 minutes more than you did any other day. Start with something small so you feel that sense of victory, of achievement, and you're going to want to build upon it. I'll be at the gym. I know you can't tell, and that's why I keep a low profile. I'm not like these other brothers over here, all stocky.
Hey, I can see that shoulder picture. I can see that.
So I used to go, and I'm like, you know what? 35 minutes is plenty. Now I don't feel right if I'm not there for an hour 15, and it's not because I'm lollygagging on the phone. Like, I'm trying to put in work because I need to. My body needs it. My family needs it. And if I'm going to be the best version of me, and if I'm going to ask the same of others, I try to do it myself. I went through the Tiny Habit Challenge. I started to take better care of myself. I just came off of a 32-hour water fast just to help myself reboot, get myself where I need to go. Do what you need to do, but take those tiny steps to take that action right away.
That's so good. Tiny Habits by BJ Fogg.
Yes.
Now, Bracy, I know you are the guru of habits. You got a lot of habits. You share them. You have routines. You have regimens. You have stick-to-itiveness. What are some habits that really kind of get us through? Maybe there's some people on here who have never developed a routine, right, or a habit or a regimen. What do we share with them?
For me, it's I believe that what we read or look at, what we listen to or hear, and what we speak out most of the time controls the course and the direction of our lives, controls our attitude, controls our actions. So just a few habits that have helped me over the course of years, without going into the crazy childhood that I had growing up. I had to literally recondition my thinking. So at age 25 is when I started to change things. I believe that it's important to listen to something positive, inspirational, motivational, empowering every single day. Like Ernesto said, 5 to 10 minutes a day. Just quick, just get that in. I got to get that in me. So now I heard something, right? To combat all the negative stuff that's coming at us, all of our negative thoughts.
Where can they hear it? Where can somebody hear something?
I mean, you can go to YouTube. You can go to, there's so many podcasts that are out there. You've got to find what works best for you. I'm not going to tell you who to listen to, but what works for you. You got to listen to something positive every single day. I believe that you got to read something for 5 to 10 minutes every single day. I believe that it's important to be aware of our own thoughts. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive. That could be a habit. When your mind goes to a negative place silently, your mouth goes positive out loud. So we're reading something positive on a daily basis. We're listening to something positive. 5, 10 minutes. That's all we need. And eventually you're going to want more. Some days you're going to get more. Some days you might get less. But let's create the habit, right? Listen to something positive daily. Read something positive daily. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive, and have some sort of time frame within your day where you talk yourself into greatness. That's your moment. That could be 60 seconds, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it might be, but you've got to have a moment. You don't have to stop. You could be driving, you could be on your bike, you could be on your workout, but a moment where you have a conversation with you. Well, you say, what do I say? I want you to think about someone that you love, your younger brother, sister, mom, dad, niece, nephew that you love. If you could speak life into them and encourage them for 60 seconds, what would you say to them? Well, the same words you would say to them, turn those words around and say them to you.
That's good. That's good.
So 4 habits. Listen to something positive every day. 5 something positive every day, 10 minutes a day. When your mind goes negative, right now, your mouth goes positive out loud, and make sure you take a moment to talk yourself into greatness. That's what I would share in terms of habits. Yeah. As you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? That's constant personal development on a daily basis.
Now, I would imagine that our resident ninja warrior has some habits. I would imagine that our resident ninja warrior has some physical and some mental habits that increase his stamina. Go ahead, drop a few gems, Juan. What are some of those things that are practical, right? That are practical that our listeners could do, and then maybe even share with a friend and bring somebody along with them?
I believe the two most important times during the day is in the morning and at night. How you wake up and how you go to bed. For me personally, it's creating a morning routine that charges me up. I think we're all like our cell phones. How many guys have ever had the issue where your cell phone is dying on you throughout the day because you have too many apps running or you're streaming too much video, right? I think we're all like our cell phones, except for us, our apps are schoolwork, work, family, significant other, kids, and all these things drain us. I think one of the best things you can do is to make sure you charge yourself up every day in the morning, at night. So in the morning time, for me, what we're seeing is when I wake up, the first thing I do is I get on my knees. This is what I mean. Denzel Washington had a powerful graduation speech. I would highly recommend everyone to watch it. He says, every night when you put your slippers beneath your bed, make sure in the morning you get on your knees and thank God for that gift of life. So I get on my knees. I thank God for my eyes that can see, my ears that can hear, my beating heart that can feel. I then go around and think about the people in my life, from my loving wife to my parents' health, my brother, my nephew and nieces, my best friends. And then I think about all the areas of my life, my goals, and I visualize it. I get out of bed. First thing I do as I go brush my teeth, I listen to music. I listen to Lord, I Need You, and to Waymaker by Mandisa, her version. I listen to those two things every morning, and it feeds my soul, and I sing out loud. After that, I have my vision board, 2020, right? All the areas of my life. I visualize all of this. I then read a devotional, and then I think about what's something I need to do day to day to increase my faith, to be loving towards my wife, and to work on my goals. Then that's how I start every morning. Before every night, I work out, and then my wife and I, together, for us, we read a devotional, the 5 Love Languages devotional, 1 page a night. After we do that, I think about my magical moments for the day. I journal it in, and then her and I, we have this routine. We got it from our pre-marriage group called the 5 A's. We ask each other, hey, this is something I appreciate about you today. Number 2, we show affection, give each other a kiss. Number 3, we ask for forgiveness. Is there something I did today that might have hurt you that I was not aware of? Wow. Number 4, what's something I can do to help make your life easier tomorrow? Number 5, amen, what can we pray about for you? Then we switch, then we go to bed. So your morning and your night, your routine, check it out. What makes you feel good, and incorporate it in, because by making sure you take care of yourself in the morning and at night, that's you plugging yourself in so that when you go on with the day, you are 100% charged up.
What did I do anything to you today that hurt you that I wasn't aware about, wasn't aware of? I think that's fantastic. I'm going to share this, and then we're going to shut this thing down. I know I don't want to. I can go for like another hour.
Wait, Tish. Got to make an announcement, Tish? I got to make an announcement, Tish.
Oh, yeah, no.
I was going to interject. I was going to interject real quick because I don't, we're going to continue to get ready to shut it, but I want to interject real quick because one of the things I did not do, and I want to make sure that I do, is I wanted to give you all an opportunity to understand, again, we're getting ready to close, but again, we're doing our Circle of Change leadership experience. It's coming up literally less than 2 months. And I definitely want to take this moment to give you all the opportunity to spread the word. Again, panels like this, virtual masterclasses like this are just part of what's going to transpire in 2 weeks. Again, I can't stress enough, if you have a student that wants to take their life to the next level and wants to prepare themselves for career leadership success in the midst of a pandemic, this is the time. You know, one of the things I do love about the conference so much is the role models. If you can tell, when you look at this panel, we have lots of cultural diversity, lots of different stories, and we try to be as intentional as we can about that with the conference. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have not looked into it yet, to look into it. And if you can't go, spread the word to someone, because again, I'm believing for 1,000 people this year, and we're getting there slowly. But I want to reach as many people as possible. And I think that not only have we dropped the price, but more importantly, It's virtual, so it gives everyone access. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have not, to make sure you lock in and get involved. Again, it's going to be incredible. The second thing I do want to make you aware of as well is we're doing the professional track. So we have a professional track for those that are professionals in student affairs, or maybe you're a professional in general. We're going to have a track. We got 6 sessions over a 2-weekend period. We got a lot of amazing sessions for professionals. And again, that's literally only $60. And you heard what Kevin said. One investment can really change your life. And that's really what it is. And I think in a time where they're cutting professional development funds, I think this could be a great opportunity for you not only to learn, but to get information that can enable you to go to the next level. In addition to that, we're dealing with speakers. As all you know, we all are speakers. And so if you're ever looking for a speaker to provide value to your event, not only can you reach out to us on LinkedIn, but also you can click on the link as well and let us know your information and how we could possibly bring service to you. And so that's so incredibly important. I want to share that with you as well. And we're going to have our DJ play out the last 5 to 10 minutes, because I don't want to forget about DJ Wally. But again, I'm going to go to Tish real quick. Tish, if you can give us like a quick 2-minute rap, I'm going to come back and send it off to DJ Wally. So Tish, what's your quick rap real quick? And by the way, Tish, you did a great job filling in. Had technical difficulties, but it's all right, because I think we got through this in a powerful way. And I mean, I've been listening today, and it's been powerful stuff, y'all. If you were here and you didn't get impacted, I don't know, man. Maybe you're a genius. I don't know, but I mean, there was some impactful truth that was released here today, and I feel like it keeps getting better. Like every time we do it, it gets better and better. So I'm probably gonna ask him to come back later down the line, not the next 3 weeks, but maybe after Circle of Change. But we never gonna be a Circle of Change. I just got to get Juan involved. That's my last person, and then everyone's gonna be at some capacity at Circle of Change. But Tish, what do you want to say real quick, Tish?
Yeah, I wanted to just talk about habits real quick. A habit that I have started, and I'm not endorsing any companies or anything like that, but I've developed, as I said on the last call, an SCR, self-care regimen, right? I think it's important that we not try to, pour from an empty cup. And I think we have to develop a self-care regimen and then stick to it. And so I just have a couple things here that I want to show you guys, because these are things that I have developed. They say it takes 21 days to develop a habit. And so these are things that are in my house. These are things that when I run out, I have to go buy them. These are things that are in my office that you could have in your office as well. Those people who are going to work in person, as well as people who have home offices. How can we bring wellness into our space and make it a part of our life and lifestyle? Well, we do things like this. If you can't eat 5 servings of vegetables every day, you can maybe drink it. Oh gosh, I'm in front of a green screen. You can't see it, but this is can you? This is a green
juice. Fresh juice.
That it's cold, fresh pressed juice from Trader Joe's. Kale, spinach, apple, cucumbers, celery, lemon, and ginger. So that's green juice. If you can't eat it, drink it. The next thing I have, because immunity needs to be on the up and up, is my immunity boosters. These are also little shots. Shot. Take it. It has cayenne. It has turmeric, it has ginger, black pepper. And then what I do, because I want to lower the mucus in my system, is I get a lemon. This is a real lemon. I don't know if you can see it, but for me, I can't see it. This is a lime, and this is a key lime. This is a key lime that actually has seeds in it. Do not buy food that doesn't have seeds in it. So you can see how small this lime is. I squeeze this lime on top of my shot to lower the mucus in my system. I also want to take zinc because that helps boost my immunity. I also take vitamin C because that helps boost my immunity. And if you don't know, you better get on board. Black seed oil will change your life. Black seed oil is so beneficial. It's anti-inflammatory. It has minerals in it. It is just fantastic. Get black seed oil, everybody. Also, I got some woke people who are on this call right now who are not going to be scared when I tell you what this is. This is sea moss. Now, this is mango flavored sea moss. Our body needs 102 minerals, either by vitamins, food, whatever. Sea moss is a sea vegetable that has 92 of the 102 minerals that our body needs. I take this little scoop, I put it in my tea, I put it in my smoothie, and it's basically a vitamin that is infused with a little bit of taste. If you want to bring wellness into your office, I also have my wonderful salt lamp, my Himalayan salt lamp that you can go, don't go to Whole Foods and spend $55 on it. Go to Ross, go to TJ Maxx and get one for $12.99. It reduces negative ions that are in the room, and it is an air purifier, okay? Also, I can encourage you, if you want to bring wellness into your space, I have my gemstones like my amethyst, I have my rose quartz, I have my tiger's eye. So you can have all of your little wonderful gems right there on your desk that don't disturb. I'm not saying go to work and be lighting incense and humming and meditating at your work. Don't do all that. If you don't have those things, grab something and have these kinds of things with you on your person with your amethyst and your rose quartz, so that the energy and the frequency that these gemstones give off, you can absorb them as well. So what we feed ourselves is not just food, okay? It's also habits. It's also the wellness that we can bring into our body that we have control over. So keep in mind of sea moss and black seed oil and these other kinds of things like yoga and medicinal practices that we can do to boost our immunity and keep us keeping on, okay? Now, Josh.
Awesome.
Let's close it out. 60 seconds. I think everybody on this call heard this week some words that rang out that seemingly got misconstrued by some people, but I think they were some words that fueled some other people. One of those words was stand back, and another word was stand by. Those have been really kind of, buzzing around the last 48 hours. So I want, rather than stand back and stand by, I want our final 60 seconds for each one of our panelists, and Josh, this includes you as well. I want you to share with everyone watching, not how we can stand back and stand by, but how can those people stand out and stand up? Let's start with you, Juan.
One way you can stand out and stand up is to realize that you're not alone. Life is a team sport. One of my favorite quotes is this African proverb that says, if you want to go fast in life, go alone. If you want to go farther in life, go together. When Josh talks about this fourth quarter event, this is the last 3 months of 2020. You can make it a great year, but realize you're not in this by yourself. You see, the back of your jersey might say Kevin, might say Tish, Joshua, Ernesto, but the front of your jersey, who we repping today, is the Circle of Change. So realize we are in this together, to make sure to reach out for help when you need help.
Ernesto, what can you do to stand up and stand out?
So I think that one of the things that we can do is, instead of trying to change the world, just like we're talking about tiny habits all at one bang, angry about politics, religion, whatever it might be, go vote and load up your car. You did your part, and you at least took some folks with you. And that's what you can do. And you know what? I'm actually going to volunteer to drive people around. And yes, because this is the type of person I am, I'm not asking who you're voting for. I just need to make sure everybody votes. I'm like the basketball player that didn't have the skills. I want to win fair and square with everybody showing up, but I just need everybody to show up. That can be for work, that can be for voting, but most importantly, it needs to be for yourself.
Bracy, how do we get people to stand up and stand out?
There's a quote that I heard years ago. Les Brown said it over and over and over again. And he said, life is a fight for territory. When you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically show up. Yeah. So if we want love, if we want compassion, if we want everybody to matter, if we want Black lives to matter, brown lives to matter, I believe it's important that every single day we wake up, each one, I even got it tatted on my arm. Yeah, I'm not promoting tattoos, but each one, reach one. Every day, let's reach out to someone in a kind way, a loving way. Build up somebody. Send a text, send a DM, send a messenger every day. If we all took the responsibility to reach out to at least, operative words, at least one person to make their day in some kind of way, something simple, let them know that we see them. I believe that's how we fight for love and compassion and standing out. It's reaching out to people and letting people know that they matter, no matter what they look like, talk like, walk like, act like, believe like, or vote like.
Josh, before I give it to you for your final words, this is my way of not standing back and standing by, but standing up and standing out. Vote. That is my way to do it. And I was not trying to promote my sorority by wearing this. This was the only shirt in my whole wardrobe that says vote. And that's why I wore it today. So vote, 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 vote. That's how we stand up and stand out. Josh, this has been awesome. It's on you, brother.
No, thank you so much, Tish. I appreciate that. And you actually led me into what I was getting ready to talk to you. I'm actually ready to create a shirt, and I have a program called #EverydayActivism. And the reason I use this concept of called #EverydayActivism is because so many times a lot of people will hashtag when an event happens. What I have found is activism is not an event. Activism is a lifestyle. And activism is where we're doing our part to make the world a better place. And I think every day we have the opportunity to give back. Every day we have the opportunity to make a difference in somebody's life. And so whatever you do, what is it today that you can do to make an impact in someone's life? And I literally this week, and I was going to share this as we get ready to conclude, I got a call this week from a good friend of mine that works at Netflix. And he was like, Josh, I got to talk to students. I got to get people to vote because it's like I need to do something. And as he began to say that to me, there's been this math class that's been in my heart for some time. And it was to do something focused on voter registration, on civic engagement, and how we can get mobilized and how we get people to vote. And literally, although I got a lot of things going on at that moment, it was clear to me we got to do a master class on that. So in regard to what Tish is saying, we're coming back in 2 weeks on October 15th, which is funny. The next presidential debate will actually be in Miami, Florida. But we're going to do another virtual match class literally on about voting, about getting people engaged, and what do we do to deal with the challenges of our day, which I think is so important as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really just all about, doing your part to make an impact in the world. And not just through your lip service, but actually what you do. And so I just hope that you guys continue to make an impact, continue to spread love, and really continue to make a difference in the world. And that's really what I was going to say. But as we get ready to close, we're going to close out with our DJ. DJ Wally's going to play some music. If you want to stay in here, you can stay in here. If you want to connect with people, you can connect with people in the chat box. And as well, I'm asking Mike again to put in the information about Circle of Change, because sometimes we miss those links. But I'm asking to put those links in again in the chat box. So make sure you get involved. Make sure you spread the word. And thank you so much, Ernesto, for letting people know there will be a recording. We will get it recorded, and it should be sent out by next Monday. So you'll be getting recorded by next Monday at the latest, preferably. That's what I'm trying to do. But I want to thank everyone on the panel. I want to thank so much of our speakers. I want to thank so much of you for tuning in. And those of you who stay with us this long, thank you so much as well. We're going to let DJ Wally come back. He's going to play music for the next 5 to 10 minutes. And while that's going on, feel free to talk in the chat box as well. Just feel free to reflect, and whatever else you want to say, it's going to be open up to 5 to 10 minutes. So DJ Wally, I believe you're there. So we're going to throw it to you right now and let you take us on home for the last 5 to 10 minutes. Again, thank our panel so much. They've been awesome. They've been wonderful. Thank you all. Tish, thank you so much for stepping in and locking it down when my computer wasn't here. You just stepped on in and let's do it. Just made it happen. So thank you so much for that. And thank you all for being here. And I'm just pumped. DJ Wally, it's in your hands. Wally, do your thing.
DJ Wally.
Don't forget.